Where's Tony Gilroy when you need him? The Creator, starring John David Washington, Gemma Chan, Ken Watanabe, Madeline Univolis, Allison Janney, and many others, is a story about how, as a future war between the human race and artificial intelligence rages on, ex-Special Forces agent Joshua is recruited to hunt down and kill the Creator, the elusive architect of advanced AI. The Creator has developed a mysterious weapon that has the power to end the war and all mankind. As Joshua and his team of elite operatives venture into enemy-occupied territory, they soon discover the world-ending weapon is actually an AI in the form of a young child. I'm going to first get it out of the way that I wasn't really wowed away by the trailer for this when I first saw it, but then I saw that this movie got a lot of really positive buzz from the first reactions, so I decided to go and see it. And I'm not really sure that it was as good as the initial hype was. But before we get into that, let's start with some of the good that I did like about this movie. This movie is visually stunning. It only got an $80 million budget only, but compared to other Marvel, just all Disney projects in general, compared to all of that, its visuals are absolutely stunning with a significantly less budget, and props to everything done by the visual department in this movie. They did an absolutely phenomenal job. The other really big thing that I'd like to get out of the way is that Madeline Univolis did an absolutely phenomenal job as Alfie. She was the heart and soul of this movie. She was absolutely amazing in it. There've not really been this many absolutely stunning child performances, and she did absolutely amazing. But that's really about all I have for the good, so let's get into the bad. This movie is extremely inconsistent in everything that it does. That's the best way that I can describe it. It is just inconsistent. The plot was inconsistent and all over the place and just really hard to keep up with because you had characters just jumping from place to place. And that's why I said in the beginning, where's Tony Gilroy when you need him? Because Rogue One had the same problem. Garth Edwards was the director of this movie, and he seems to just have this problem where a character's here, now they're here, now they're here, now they're here, and the scenes just jump and jump and jump, and there's absolutely no time to breathe. And that's how the first 30 minutes of Rogue One were. And that was just the entirety of this movie. You don't know how people got there. There's no whys behind the decision, like minor spoiler ahead. But John David Washington is just sitting on his pool, and the generals come up to him and are just like, hey, you want to go back? And it doesn't really take much of any convincing. And then it's just like, all right, now he's back in the army. It's been 5 years. We're not going to establish him like getting prepared to go back. It's just, oh, he wants back in, boom, we're immediately back in. Like, there's just so many minor inconsistencies like that it just really stacks up, and it took me out of the movie. And I'm just like, okay, we were just here, like, how did we get here? What are we doing? It just really took me out of the movie. And with that, they try to have all of these emotional moments between characters, and it wanted you to care about all of these people and everything that was going on. And it's just like, we haven't even gotten to spend more than 3 minutes with them. There's been no time to let this just marinate. And it really, again, it takes you out of the movie because you feel like you're supposed to care and like you're supposed to feel something for the characters. And it's like, you don't really do that besides the final sequence in the third act when you have the emotional moments between Joshua and Alfie. That's really the only time where any emotional moments really land home. But even then, you have moments, again, this is a minor spoiler in the movie, but you had a moment where Joshua was just like, Alfie, we're going to play a game of you keep me the fuck away from the police. And then literally like the next scene, they're cuddling on a bus and being super sweet to each other. And it's like, why is the dynamic just so contrasting and the tone of everything that they're talking about so different in like back-to-back scenes. It is completely tonally inconsistent, and again, it really took me out of the movie. Again, there's hardly any why behind any of the decisions made, behind how any of the characters act. And speaking on that, John David Washington, I absolutely love him in Tenet and some of his other work. I thought that his performance was really sporadic and all over the place. Again, inconsistent. I cannot say that enough, that that's what this movie is all across the board. His performance is extremely inconsistent, and you don't really know what he's going for in this movie. Hans Zimmer supposedly did the score for this movie. I saw that on the credits and was kind of surprised because I really wasn't that impressed by the score. Sometimes, like in the beginning when they used the music, I'm like, all right, like the first 15 minutes, I was like, this is really good. And then it just kind of fell off after that, and I thought that it was really cool. Like the entire Nomad ship and the entire concept of it was really cool. But in the third act, it's in LA in 1 second, and they lift off from the airport, and then they're immediately on the ship, and then we're in Asia, and then we're back in LA, and then it's back in Asia. And it's like, where the hell is this ship at? It makes absolutely no sense. And again, it's just like, you don't know. There's no consistency with the plot, with the story, with the narrative that they're trying to tell. And then it just tries to tackle way too many themes in this movie. I know that Rotten Tomatoes said something like their synopsis of it said that it lacks themes. That's complete bullshit, because it's trying to throw everything at the wall and just trying to see what sticks. And nothing really lands home, because you have all these like metaphors about the United States Army and the military showing up and just hunting these specific people. Sounds a lot like what we did in Afghanistan, Iraq, in the Middle East after 9/11. You have metaphors like that. Then you have you try and have lessons about loss and regret, and letting go of people, and what makes a human, how to be a good person. You have all of these things, and there's just too much of it, and they aren't able to spend enough time on any one thing, and you're left with, man, that would have been really, really, really good if you just honed in on it more. I fully believe that this movie would be absolutely excellent and one of the best of the year if it was 30 minutes longer, because that's all that it really needs. Like if it was a 2.5 hour long movie, more like closer to 3, this movie would have been excellent. And if it just gave itself some time to breathe, I think I really would have enjoyed it, because like I wanted to love this movie so bad, because like at the end of it, I'm like, that was infuriating, because there were so many just like minor things that I'm like, man, that was really fucking cool. In the first 15 minutes, like I said specifically, I got really into it. I'm like, this is a dope ass action sequence to start off. And the ship, the design of it, and just how it works, it was just really interesting and fascinating, and a really cool concept. And then it just kind of devolves into going everywhere. And it another really good way I think that I can describe this movie is it really wanted to be James Cameron, but it just couldn't pull it off, because I saw a lot of aspects of Terminator 2 and a lot of aspects of Avatar, and they just threw them together and it didn't work. Last negative thing before I end it, there's a couple moments where there's just absolutely terrible, cringy dialogue where I just kind of rolled my eyes and I kind of laughed. I'm like, oh boy, thank God this wasn't in Rogue One. Again, very happy that Tony Gilroy cleaned that up for Gareth Edwards, because I kind of wish that he did for this movie as well. This movie had its moments. I definitely did enjoy parts of it, and I enjoyed certain aspects and certain themes, but I just wish that there was more. I wish that there was a lot more, because this movie definitely needed an extra 30 minutes to an hour to really marinate in itself and just develop its characters, develop its themes, develop the story, the plot, literally everything. It just needed more time to do literally everything. And At the end of the day, I'm going to give this movie a solid 2.5, maybe 3 stars, 2.75 out of 5. I really wish that I liked it more. I just can't say that I did. Hopefully, you guys go out and see The Creator. Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Make sure to follow me over on Letterboxd, and we will see you in the next movie review.